What's up, everybody? It's your friend Isaac from Big Bike BMX, and you guys, I'm so stoked right now. I'm like ridiculously excited for tonight's guest, Craig.
Yo.
Would you say? Can you tell I'm a bit excited?
Yeah, you know what? I think I said it last time, the time before. I mean, I can't tell you how much I totally get stoked when you're sitting there and it's almost like you're fighting for words, but you're not because I know where you're going with it. So yeah, dude, ready for tonight. Happy that you're stoked, bro. Why don't you continue on, brother?
All right, you guys. I'm gonna introduce this guest, Craig. I appreciate you, and I'm gonna give you a story, Craig, that you've heard before. Maybe if you just tuned in, you have not heard this story. And our guest Maurice Meyer Drob has not heard this side of the story, but it involves him. So, my friends, let's put on our memory lane hats, helmets, and hammer knee pads, or whatever you want to call it. And so, the biggest thing that ever happened in Lodi, California, especially in 1986 or 1987, is called the Lodi Grape Festival. Those of you familiar with Lodi, it's known for grapes. It's where I grew up. And I could not wait to take whoever it was that I thought was cute and had a crush on at the moment to the Lodi Grape Festival. And imagine like me walking up, with whoever from my school. And I don't think I saw a truck. What I remember seeing was a quarter pipe right in front of the gates. And it said Skyway Recreation. So you know what I thought, Craig? What did you think I thought right away?
Oh, you thought it was Scott Freeman was there.
Yeah, I have to fight Scotty Freeman now because here he is, right? So I don't have my bike, so now we have to fist fight. That's what I'm thinking. Drob, I was also at this time 14. Scott was 14. So Scott was the guy that we could all, in my age range, we could all relate to and be like, I almost said a bad word. I can boomerang better than that guy. And so, yeah, so Craig, you're right. I thought I had to fight Scotty Freeman in front of this girl that I am excited about at the Lodi Grape Festival. But instead, Scotty Freeman wasn't there. It was Maurice Meyer, our guest tonight. And then your brother was there skateboarding. I was just stoked because before this, I had seen you at Golden Gate Park and I'd seen your brother at Golden Gate Park doing freestyle skateboarding. Am I right? Or am I crazy? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got to forgive me, dude, because a lot of what I remember is I've fallen a lot and been hitting the head and stuff. So like my memory kind of jumps, but
yeah, I'm with you. Same here.
Dude, right.
Together.
So, dude, right. And so I remember just sitting and you had this was the first time I had ever seen, this is like, you guys who are listening to this, think back to the 80s and like, did your local bike shop have a Skyway Street Beat built up in it, like for sale, retail? Probably not. Mine didn't. And so out comes Drob with the brand new Street Beat. And it was like, I'm pretty sure it was a prototype and maybe didn't even have stickers. And I'm just like, bro, what is that? And you're like, nah, it's just this thing we're testing. And then like once you figured out like, okay, this is a little kid, but like I knew what tricks were and like I knew about Golden Gate Park. You're like, yes, it's like a prototype or maybe, I don't know. That's what I remember was like, it didn't have anything. It's the first time I'd seen a Street Beat. And there was somebody who I didn't know that was like maybe officially on the Skyway team. And now I'm thinking back, it kind of feels like maybe you just grabbed like a homie and we're like, okay, you're riding the quarter pipe today. Like, I'm not sure, but
it was Vince Torres, San Jose homie.
Dude, it might, yeah, you know what? It might be.
Yeah, because we did some shows around California that had Vince sometimes, and then sometimes Rick Anderson.
Okay, it wasn't Anderson, dude. I know it wasn't Anderson.
Yeah, probably
okay.
Vince. I mean, the ramp guys that rode with us then was Vince Torres, Rick Anderson, Hugo, of course, and then Mike Holden. Those are the main guys that we've done shows with.
Yeah, I remember Mike Golden. I think Mike. There was another guy. There was another guy there. There was three of you.
Robert Peterson was.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was Robert Peterson. Yeah, Master Balance, dude. Yeah, dude. Do you remember his?
this in a time frame too. That's got to be like 85, 86.
It must have been, dude, because I'm literally, the way I gauged 86, 87, I'm going back in my head and thinking, was it 8th grade or 7th grade? I'm like, it had to be like 7th or 8th. So that's what I'm doing is,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it could have been a year earlier, bro.
Yeah, I know. I do that too. I had some contests mixed up until I started getting on the internet. I thought for sure that contest came before this, and it's like, nope, you are wrong.
Oh, they will fix you right up, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was like, okay, all right.
You're like, I rode this. And then someone's like, you did not ride that Drob. You actually rode these special, two-tone Amy grips. And you're like, bro, they were Hank and Frank,
On me for having my snake bellies on backwards in the first picture I got. I'm like, I didn't know which way a tire went on. It went on the rim.
You mean it matters which
Seriously.
way it rolls?
Right?
Hey, Drob. So going back, Isaac was talking about, the early 80s, mid 80s, and all these things. I want to just, kind of kick this off. And first of all, welcome to the show, Drob. We're all Bay Area right here in the podcast, Isaac from Lodi, me from the Bay Area too. So, the Bay Area scene, when we look back, like, what was it like when you first got into hanging out with guys on BMX bikes, or did you, how did you crack into going, man, I want to be a part of freestyle or trick riding back in the day?
Well, it's kind of weird because my first little jaunt with BMX was in the 70s when I was a Grom with my brother. It was like, I don't know, it was like I didn't get bikes for Christmas or any stuff like that, right? So it was kind of like I had my first bike was a janky 3-speed that this neighbor guy gave me. It was like it was like a girl's bike with big rims. I forget, I jacked the thing pretty quick, and then I put together was cast off from my brother, so did paper routes on it and all this stuff, in the like 8 to 10-year-old time frame. And then skateboarding came along for a while. Star Wars came along, 70s, I shot a bunch of Super 8 of skateboards, and my brother was going pro, and he would have been expert then, and then my buddy Tommy Guerrero turned into a skater, phenomenal skater. So somewhere in there was like a break. I went to skate parks on a skateboard in the later 70s, shot photos, and I wasn't any good. So I shot Super 8 movies. So there was kind of that. So I got introduced to like the first people I saw ride vert were in pools, right? There was a pool. I'm like, what the hell? That's up on the wall. Like, what? Like, I had seen bicycle motocross action, before BMXA, dirt skid pictures, flatties, like badass. I'd already had it visually blown, and like, I don't think I saw a rider do a tabletop for real in my Grom days, but I saw a guy on a racetrack kick the shit out of everybody else. This dude, we had a downhill track in San Francisco, so me and my brother rode across the city and dodged getting your bike jacked and all that, all that city stuff. And then I see this dude who actually was from the projects right next to the track, like down the street was the projects. And this dude, Johnny Ray, man, blew everyone's doors. I was like, what the hell? Total hero. First BMX hero was Johnny Ray. That's all I knew about him. I just watched that dude kill everyone. And then the 80s started for me. I was kind of living in the hood, and I got my first vehicle, which was this little moped. I was going over to Tommy Guerrero's house, and we'd go to punk rock shows and skateboard a little bit, do whatever. And there was an old Webco with coaster brake tough wheels in his garage.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I used to ride those. Let me check that out. Maybe 82 or so, 82, 83, early 83 maybe at the latest. But then we started going out to the park because my brother would go out there, skateboarding in the park was happening first. And I was kind of like, oh, and my friend Mark Babbis, actually, another key thing, he did a 360, like just on the ground, 360 rollout, it was called. And I was like, well, what, and I think before that I could do wheelies. I wheelied across the schoolyard in my Grom days. I could do what was called a suicide wheelie, which was, for me, was just pick it up and spin the bars once. Total, hold the bars, totally guiding it, truck driver style. But I saw that 360 rollout and I was like, what? I used to ride these. And so it turned into like riding around the street at night and going to the park. And, we were trying to go to jumps in Golden Gate Park. But then this kind of flat scene, you know, was created there because we'd wait for people to come. And so we'd meet at this one place. And while you're there, you just kind of do flat, and you'd hear, and I hear stories about what was going on in BMX action, but I didn't have a subscription or any input coming from there. So it was all just local input and no ramps, you know. And so that scene in the park just turned into a like a flatland scene more and more. And I still like going riding. We would go session and mob the city and do all that. And I like the everything about it. Ride through these trails and go hit some jump, a one-shot type of jump, you know, type of old school thing. And but then there was a certain point where I remember, like right around whenever it was when Pete Monkarovich was renting like Trans Am's racing, like you still had this head like BMX was racing, and like, what, you know, we're just fooling around. This is a sideshow thing. And even like we did like a sideshow at the Cow Palace race in '83. Like we're literally outside in the parking lot. They got the whole Cow Palace where, like, you know, the Beatles play or something, you know, we're like going, that's BMX in there. We're around outside, you know. And then there was somewhere right around there that I remember coming to the park, and I remember like having those like goggles on of the park, rolling in and going, man, you know what? I'm a freestyle dude, and that's it. I don't care. Like, I don't need to race. I'm not going to race. I'm not even caring about that whole side, because I got my thing here. This is fun.
Yeah.
Like doing this. So whatever.
That's pretty crazy because.
Well, Craig, I got to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Because I think, Drob, I think we all had that moment, dude. Like, I can tell you when mine was. Like, I had just got my first real bike. It was a Henderson Hauler, and in Lodi, next to like Mickey Grove, there was I mean, dude, it was. Now I look back on it, I'm kind of like, Mom, how'd you even let this happen? I'm pretty sure it was like a homemade BMX track just in a field, and some dude just showed up and charged people $5. Like, we probably could have done this for free. And I'm pretty sure that like the trophies were like baseball trophies. I think the dude got at Goodwill, but he was trying, you know what I mean? And it was like good enough for me, man. It was like, we had like it. Some nights it was just dudes, like the 6 dudes that showed up race each other because there wasn't enough. So it was like, one time I show up and there's a grown ass man with like a mustache, and then like 11-year-old me, and I'm like, oh God, you know. And my bike had pegs. The Skyway aluminum pegs, because they hadn't outlawed that at this underground like fight club track. but I remember I fell. Someone ran over my head. I've told the story a couple times. Someone ran over my head with my helmet, and I was just like, you know what? F BMX, dude. This is not. I had dreams of Harry Larry and like Stu and like Buff doing like the big roosters and stuff like that. Instead, I'm getting my head rolled over. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick to hopping on my pegs and stuff like that, Mom. She's like, good idea.
If you were okay, Isaac.
Oh man, yeah.
Were they okay?
Yeah, they probably won. I mean, yeah. Pretty sure it's Pistol Pete.
But think about it. I mean, that's a great like retrospect on that, because Drob, I mean, Isaac and I, we've had plenty of discussions about growing up and how we got into BMX and what we did as kids. And I don't know so much Isaac, but like for me, there was a lot of skateboarding involved, you know, in the Bay Area. There's just so many great spots for BMX, for skateboarding, and that whole lifestyle that surrounds that. Right. And, you know,
all my friends were skaters. Yeah.
Yeah. I can go into the grocery store looking at magazines, because Drob, you mentioned like, you know, you guys were just on bikes, just, you know, mobbing around the city and stuff, and then you end up at the park and here's dudes doing flatland, you're picking up on it. We didn't have subscriptions to magazines. Isaac and I checked them out on the racks when Mom took us shopping. You know, it was like one of those deals. No internet, obviously, so no, you can't just, you know, sit there and like, you know, go down a wormhole on different tricks and stuff. So like when you were at the park and you're hanging out with these guys, like how did you, I mean, was it more or less like, hey, that trick looks cool, I'm going to try that, now let's see what I can do with it? Or, I mean, because we're really talking, you know, early 80s here, I think around like, would you say 81 or so? And, you know, it's like, bro, you guys came up with, you know, the Northern California Bay Area style of flatland. So that's pretty remarkable, thinking about like, you know, you guys weren't getting it from somewhere else. You were creating it as you know, got on your bikes and headed down to the park.
Yeah, yeah, no, there was definitely like a, I mean, it's all this like cross pollination of everybody who came there, right? Like, because like you said, you would see someone do something, even like on the negatives. Like, I remember like hopping, right? Obviously, you hop. No one had pegs on their bikes yet. You could put your brake on and hop, back hop, front hop. Was that basic? And then I remember it going like, oh my God, how many can you do? It's like, how long can you wheelie? All that stuff, it's like, how good can you do this? And so like after a while, I was like, all right, 150 back hops, I'm kind of bored now. I remember just going, I'm done with that. And like, I have this picture that looks like I'm bunny hopping to it, like gonna land right on this curb. And it's actually like an endo and like the most massive back hop I could do, just to be stupid, to just say, okay, you guys are gonna do 1,500 back hops. I'm gonna do a 3-foot high back, just to be stupid,
Yeah.
And so even when you were looking at things and going, no, I'm not gonna do that, it might push you in a different direction, right? But there was a guy who came in, I'd say the first guy that really blew my mind was this dude, Damon Frost. That was the first time I looked at somebody and went, whoa, like a complete rider with a style and ahead of everybody else. I mean, other people was like, oh man, that dude can do some killer coaster wheelies, or this dude, has got a good style on that trick or something, or he's doing something new. I mean, all around the basics. But this guy Damon came in and it was like, oh my God, he like did that 180 and then he rolled in, then he did a rollback 540. What? Like he did one trick and it floated into another trick. Like, people think linking happened later. It's like, nah, I saw linking going on with this guy Damon, and his style was smooth. The dude turned into an epic breakdancer guy. So he had style coming out his pores. Every pore had style coming out. And then Vander was like the polar opposite. When Vander came there, it was like total street thrash style, not smooth, yanking and going big and breaking his tough wheel on purpose because felt like it was going to break every spoke out of it. Wall riding a bus later, like at the one bus that could come through, it like pauses at the stop sign, so he wall rides it, So like it took a while before you had standout people, I'd say. But it started happening. I would say it started happening in '83, early '84 was where you started going, oh, that dude Damon is something. That dude Vander is something. And then then it got like, we got a lot more of those guys. Aaron Dole, Aaron Dole, John Donald, Mike Perkins, Chris and Carl Roth. I mean, I'm probably going to forget people doing this, but we all.
Yeah.
He, exactly. He was the guy, the first guy that I thought of, Mark McKee.
Yeah.
So like all of a sudden, like it's like this multiplying thing. There's 2 or 3 in the beginning, then there's 6 or 7, and then and after a while, it was like, whoa, where's this gonna go?
It was, dude. It was. I mean, and to your point, Craig, like the NorCal flatland style was definitely like, if I watch people in LA, when I would watch, when you would assume out of like photo sequences in a magazine, or someone got like a 12th generation VHS copy of some flatland contest in Kansas City, the way that a lot of flatland riders rode, especially in SoCal, was very put together. This was my vision of what a SoCal weekend was. Martin and Eddie and RL and Scotty Freeman all showed up in LA with their leathers on. Wendy probably showed up and just started taking pictures every day. They had zero weather, or everything was flat and perfect cement, and they had it perfect. And then we had NorCal, where it was like, when you think of Vander, like the curb becomes part of the trick, if that makes sense. Like, it's not just a boomerang, it's like a boomerang, but I'm also gonna stop on the wall and do like some push-ups and like flirt with your girlfriend, and then I'm gonna finish my boomerang and ride off. That was kind of the,
yeah, it was
like,
more like an
NorCal
urban
Vander
jungle type feel, where it was like, everything about the city, everything about the street. like Drob was saying, I mean, if you're going to wall ride a Muni bus, man, you're already aggro, because Muni buses
Right.
are like totally killer. You know, you don't
Yeah.
want to mess with a Muni.
Trying to run you
No,
away.
yeah. And think about it, you guys. This was 30 years ago. Like nowadays, like you've seen someone wall ride a bus in contests and stuff like that, but you're like, Dave like jumped off of like do not enter park closed sign, bunny hopped onto that, and then like hit and then hit the bus. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it was like a bank to wall. It was just incredible, that whole experience of watching, even guys like Aaron Dull, like with that, the weird, like he did this one scuff trick one day. He just came out with it and was like, all of a sudden he's standing over his head tube hopping, and you think it's a hopping trick, and then he unlocks his diacomp brake or whatever with the locking part, and then he just starts scuffing, and his arms are out and he's scuffing, and you're like, holy shit, dude, here we go. And
Oh
it was
yeah,
just
change with that scuffing stuff. And that's where I kind of dropped out, like on flat, to be honest. You know, I was like, I got to get back to school and get to work. Like,
yeah,
a lot of keep up with this,
yeah, dude, imagine me, yeah, little kid coming in going like, I finally learned to boomerang, and then then here's then McKee's out there doing like that Mick spin or that McTwist thing that he was doing, that
circles.
McCircles, dude. Oh, Jesus.
Now, Drob, you talked about Vander coming into the scene, and you talked about this Golden Gate Park crew kind of growing, and things were getting, you're getting a lot more probably riders down there. The word of mouth is out. People are calling each other, hey, the weekends at Golden Gate are off the hook. I'm sure you were a regular there at some point in time, like really fast. Like, when did you notice that scene just attracting like the top riders from the Bay Area, Northern California, or even further? Like, was there a point where you're like, damn, this scene's hot? Did that happen for you, or did it just like evolve where it was something that became bigger than life itself?
Like surges, I guess, is the way I look at it. Like, I don't know, so there's like, obviously an obvious point is like when the magazine came out, right? Magazine came out, everything changed. We got tons of people. But even like right before that, within like 6 months, there was a time when it was SF boys only, right? That dude's from the Sunset. That dude comes out here from the Mission. This guy, you're like, you knew these dudes. You knew which high school they would have went to, by what neighborhood they're from. You could tell you got a Filipino dude over here and a white dude over here lives in Sunset. Mission to Hispanic. Like, it's all this like city stuff built in, right? And you're going there, and it's the city, and it's a lot of the same. But then after a while, before the magazine, there was this period where, like, I remember Robert Peterson showed up. So like Damon Vander, Peterson, Rick Allison too, very early, like riders that weren't from the city who were there. Like they formed like this core crew, I would say, like Rick, Peterson, and these were guys that I consider them guys who came a lot, and like made the effort and really like, so that was kind of like this first foundation of people that would end up in the magazines. None of us had been in first. I think Robert Peterson maybe entered some earlier contests than a lot of us because he had been in LA or something. But that was like this raw kind of period of people where it got to that level. And then we got in that magazine issue came out with us in it, and all of a sudden, and Wilkerson was there too. And honestly, Wilkerson didn't go to the park a lot back then. That's the funny thing. And then he went superstar real quick. We had no idea how good he was at ramps either. So like, I maybe rode him 3 or 4 times in the park when I went there 40 times a year. You know what I'm saying? So, so
there's a pretty cool cover of Wilkerson. I think it's on Freestyle, and it was like their cover shot, right?
Yep,
and
that's
right from Golden Gate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there was a little bit of like jealousy there. Like, we all had our little things when, I mean, people back then, like, let's be honest, like if there was gonna be like somebody talk to somebody from this news program and they're gonna come out and maybe do a shot, they wouldn't necessarily tell everyone else. It was like,
Right,
oh,
got to keep it close to the vest. Like you and I were talking earlier, you know, Isaac, there were some Bay Area shows like Evening Magazine, like Home Turf, you know, and these are shows like only aired in the Bay Area, bro. But when you know, when they said, "Oh, tonight we're featuring freestyle trick riders called the Curb Dogs," dude, I was like, "Oh yeah," you were so stoked when that came out, you know, and it was, you know, you mentioned Rick Allison Drob, and it's like, you know, Rick's present brought up Bob Osborne from BMX Action. So it's like things got a lot bigger than just a quick, you know, walking past session from Golden Gate Park. It was getting attention. It was putting these Northern California freestyle trick riders out where the public could see beyond the you know, views of Golden Gate Park. And I was like, you know, it's about time, because the Southern California riders were awesome, but they were getting most of the exposure, what I thought, like in the 80s, BMX Action, BMX Plus, and freestyle. And so to see guys from NorCal, you know, getting some spotlight shined, whether it was bright or, you know, not as much, but still we were in there. So I
oh
thought
yeah,
that was pretty dope.
we felt super happy. And you know what, the whole Bob Osborne influence, right? I mean, he like totally set a new path right there. And if you look, there's an intro letter that he had at trade shows that I've got a copy of, where he's like telling everybody, hey, freestyle's coming, you guys. We're going to make a magazine. It's time for everyone to get on board. This is happening. And you know, he was totally like visionary on that. And then when he did our issue, obviously we're stoked. We're like, what? Here we go. We got put in jeans and stuff. But even beyond that, like the next step, I think Freestyling 2 was, they went to Elgin, Illinois, and they had these raw metal tubes all rusty and stuff. They were literally riding in these half-cut tubes. And you know, thinking, whoa, we just got put in. I was like, oh, that is cool. Like, look at that. They went out to some fields you know, they sent their camera people out to some fields in Illinois. I was like, this is a cool thing that Freestyle Magazine's doing. Then they put Washington, D.C. on the cover. You know, like Bob Osborne knew it was time to look further. And right after that, like we got, I think I did 2 contests with so we got picked up by Skyway right after the magazine, because Skyway had already been doing tours with like race guys who also could jump and do tricks, like Bob Madrano, you know, NorCal legend, right? Bob's a badass, right? And so
Yeah.
Patterson and they would do like freestyle shows, you know. And so now Skyway was like, okay, freestyles happen. We need a separate freestyle team. We can't run our race guys around doing freestyle shows all the time, right? They got to race, you know. And so they grabbed us because we're NorCal, and they're even more Northern Cal than us. And we went to they took us to England and all this, and that was a super mind blower. I was like, these guys still have skate parks. They still have you know, they're doing all this other they've got like promotions. There was a press release for our show, magazines, like you know, it was just like the whole world just opened up in leaps and bounds after that you know, we'd go to contests in LA. That was a leap, but all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, there's a parallel universe in England, and these dudes rip, you know. Like, I mean, I hadn't even seen Craig Campbell ride because he happened to be injured both times, you know, that I saw him. But like Billy Stupple and Paul Hudson and these guys, like, they were tearing it up, you know, and they had spots. They had killer skate parks to ride.
Yeah.
So, you know,
There were so many killer. I mean, you even think about like John Bulgens, dude, when you see like some of the footage of him riding in the 80s, like,
yeah.
dude, in Scotland, Glasgow, dude, those guys were shredding.
Yeah. Who knew that
Shredding.
about Scotland scene?
Dude, right.
Freestyling went looking for it. That's what was cool. They were like, I'm not going to just take what you know, I'm not here to just promote the companies. I want to do a lifestyle thing. You know, they were really like, and that was cool for us because we weren't, especially our scene, we were still affected by BMX, like in the clothing. I mean, I think the first time we got on a news spot, we all put our leathers on and stuff because that's BMX. That was it. You know, after that, it was like, you know, like there was this tension of like, why are we wearing these skateboards don't wear that, and we don't wear these on the, you know, there was this whole little thing trying to happen to get more to like a lifestyle sport or whatever you want to call it, you know, rather than an official, you know, you dress sponsors or regimented thing.
Right. Dude, what I've always been curious, like how, so curb dogs to like in today's culture, especially in big bikes, especially in NorCal, um, a lot of people still have a fond memory of curb dogs, and like, man, it was like if you were a curb dog, or like, I remember coming home telling my mom, like, I rode with the curb dogs. She's like, that's great, like, but it was just one of those things, like, it was a legendary type thing. But I don't ever remember, like, I don't remember who was a curb dog. I don't remember where it started. I mean, I don't know anything other than, like, it just was kind of a thing, and you're just like, okay, there's, Dave had a number plate that always said curb dog, and but
Yeah.
tell me about curb dogs, like what, because and the reason I'm asking is there's so many kids today that are like, they've heard of curb dogs, they've heard of Vander, they've heard of you. Like, explain that for them, especially, just so, almost like a historic reference, because I'm so curious, like, how that all happened.
It's Vander's thing. Vander named it. Vander's from San Leandro, California, right? East Bay. If you're from here, that's East Bay. When you're that age as a kid, that's a world away. It's a train ride across a bridge, right? Or under the water, let's say, or drive across the bridge. So it definitely started with Vander. Late 83, I think, is when it turned into a thing for us. But like you say, it was always real loose. Like, there's guys that knew Vander growing up better than I know him, from being on the team and riding with him, that are curb dogs, I think. They're homies, they hung with him, and I might not know him either, and they probably know Vander better than I do, right? So, Vander started it. It was totally Vander's thing. Obviously, there's a marker, and big marker is when we did our first show, Pizza Marina. I think it was like February '84, maybe, or something.
Was that in Dublin?
Pizza Marina, I think, was in San
Leandro. Okay.
Yeah. So, so there's that, like, who did the show? Like, those people are obviously curb dogs, you could say. But people like Rick Allison, I think he's a curb dog. I think Vander made him a curb dog. And I don't know what that means to make someone a curb dog, but if you hung with Vander and were cool, he'd likely say, dude, you want to do a show? You want to be a curb dog? Bob Schmelzer, skater, was a curb dog. We did some shows. But there's people like on the curb dog site that I made, there's one ad that he put in, I think it was in Bill Batchelor's magazine, Shredding, right? And the ultra zine, super zine. And Vander's got this ad he makes, and all these people are like curb dogs now. And I'm like, Vander went to Texas and rode with those. Now they're curb. Okay, all right, that's cool. So it was definitely pretty loose, and I'm glad it wasn't absolutely exclusive or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
right.
It's like one of the most appealing things as a young kid. Like, it almost was like you didn't have to choose skater, you didn't have to choose BMX. Like, the curb dogs, you guys had Tommy Guerrero, you guys had the other gentleman you mentioned, I can't remember, you just said it, skater, but it was freestyle, it was skating, it was just like a faction. It was like a crew that, bring your aggroness and have fun, and just, if it's skating or BMX, it was like a thing, so. And that was what I liked as a kid. And I'm so envious of you, dude, like getting to go out to Golden Gate and watch this and stuff. And I've been out there a couple of times, and, I saw guys riding, but I had no clue if they were curb dogs or just the local kids tearing it up. Most of the times when I went out to the city Drob, it was like, I had to hit Skates on Hate first, and then head over to Golden Gate if, like, my buddy's mom had time to drive us over, and drop us off.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. That whole period was just crazy cool.
Well, yeah, it's like one of those things. Back then, you thought it would last forever. Like, this is so cool. This is going to last forever. Why isn't it still like that?
Yeah.
How people not love going out to the park and doing tricks on their bikes and hanging with their friends? I don't know what happened. I don't know when it was. When was the last session at Golden Gate Park? I don't know. I bet I was there, but I can't
Yeah,
think of.
it was a trip, dude, because it was like, and Craig, you'll appreciate this. Like I remember, okay, this is my memory of going to Golden Gate Park. It was like, and again, remember I'm 14, about 14, maybe 15, 13 to 15 was kind of that, like that period I remember going. And it was a buddy of mine that lived in Stockton. He had a truck, and it was like, he would just tell everyone like on a Saturday, like, hey, $5 gas money, we'll go to Golden Gate Park. And it was just like, it's on, let's go. And so like my mom would give me like $5. And this is like in the 80s, it was, I wouldn't even tell my mom I'm going to Golden Gate Park. It was just like, can I have $5? I'll be back tonight. And she's like, yeah, sure. You know,
Yeah.
and that was the 80s, dude. You know what I mean? And
Everybody had phones on them. Your mom couldn't call you at the park and see how you were doing.
hell no, dude. Yeah. Yeah. There's no way. No way. Like, hey, where are you at? I'm in San Francisco, mom. Like it's just, you know, I might come home and be like, hey, I saw some guys in San Francisco. She's like, that's great. But the 80s were so different like that. But dude, when like thinking about like the whole scene back then, and I kind of want to think and just discuss it with you, Craig, too, about like you'd said something where about the scene had gotten bigger. And, you know, Maurice, you'd said like, you know, you noticed like it was growing and things like that. And I feel like the scene that we're in right now, our big bike scene, and all that really means is a bunch of us old dudes have found like, hey, you know what? If like Haro makes a 26-inch BMX bike, and it's a Haro Master, feels like a Haro Master, only it's super comfortable for my old ass knees to pedal on. I can do tail whips on it. I can do wheelies. I can do, you know, lawnmowers and stuff like that. Like it's a fun flatland bike for my 48-year-old body that barely gets, you know, around on it, but it's fun. But man, we're looking at big bikes and it's like wheelies are huge. Everyone, you know, you'll see like 3,000 people come to a ride out where it's just, we're going to ride around Santa Cruz.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge, dude. It's
That's
big,
pretty-
big. And, you know, kids are doing wheelies and they're doing like tricks on the seat, you know, so they'll ride a wheelie and it's crazy, dude. They'll put their knee on the seat and like do cans and all this
Yeah.
crazy stuff. It's beautiful. And the skill, the talent is there. And I'm like, this is flatland back in Craig and I's time, you know, in your time, this was flatland. And they're doing it the same way that we did, you know, like right up to a curb, doing endo. How far can you go? How far can you go till you flip over? You know, like, oh, sitting on the wheel. Right.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing. Like how many parking stalls can you ride with a can? How many parking stalls can you ride with your foot over the handlebars? And they're on the cusp of learning. They've created their own flatland. They're just doing it while they wheelie. And I'm like, man, the minute somebody puts a front brake on these bikes with like a POTS mod, it's over with. Like these kids are going to absolutely reinvent flatland freestyle. Craig, Craig, you see that happening too, right? Like,
Well, I do. And I mean, to the point, Isaac, you're right on. It's like there's a sequence of progression. You know, we like Drob was saying, you're at Golden Gate Park, everyone's sessioning in the beginning, someone's doing this bunny hop thing, or it's, you know, a rock walk, but that rock walk turns into another trick. And it's happening now, dude. You hit the nail on the head. And so like it is, you know, and to the point, I've also been asked by kids like, dude, I like wheeling, I like doing those combo tricks on the back of the seat, what else can I do? Is there anything else? And it's like, dude, yeah, check this out or go watch this, because they can just upload videos now and see pretty much our whole history of, you know, like 80s BMX and flatland freestyle, whatever, trick riding. So they come back and they're like, bro, is this what this trick is? And whatever that might be, right, Drob? So it's like we're watching another sequence of progression in a new era, but it's kind of going back somewhat to the roots or getting there. Like you can see where this is going, like Isaac said, but it's on bigger bikes. I mean, BMX geometry pretty much, but in a larger platform. So,
yeah. And dude, like the most popular trick right now outside of a wheelie, a surfer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, it's just great to see that stuff. You know what I mean? And
see, I have to think. I mean, I have to think that there's things that just feel good on a bike that the kids are going to discover the same thing. They're going to have to get into jumping. I don't know how you can avoid you know, hitting a jump of some kind, whether you're on the street or in the dirt or whatever, you got to jump things, you know?
Well, I think they are, because one of the top riders from the Bay Area, from San Leandro, is a dude named Jacob Santos. Now he's a factory team rider for SE Bikes, but he rides the big bikes, the 29s, right? The guy came from the Fixie world. He's a skater. His most idolized person in his life is Vanderspek. And he was actually born on the day that Vanderspek died. And anyway, so
And his
this
dad was
guy-
friends with Vander. His dad was friends with Vander.
yeah,
too.
Rick
Yeah.
Santos was his dad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, that
Yeah,
dude's
so he basically, I mean, yeah, he can wheelie and do all that stuff, but his really, you know, in his wheelhouse is jumping, trick riding, wall rides, you know, just getting out on the bike and really sending it. I mean, Jacob just kind of cuts his own path and creates his own style. And he says it's based on a lot about, you know, like what Vander did, but these kids see that, you know, he's got a lot of exposure, social media, and he's running a BMX accessories, parts, and apparel company, you know, so he's really out there, and the kids are seeing this guy and they're like, wow, we can actually do a lot more things on our bikes than we could have ever imagined.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny, but Fixies like started up for a while, and I don't know, to me, it seems like Fixies aren't really a thing anymore. Even in the city, like even the messengers, I don't know, I just don't see them as much. And that seemed like the first time I saw big bikes try to be trick bikes, you know? But I think the Fixie had to be limiting. Just coasting is a great thing, you know? So,
Yeah, dude. I mean, just at my age, absolutely. I tried to ride a fixie, dude. Mostly it just, I look like an idiot riding down the street with my feet out. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think it actually limits you. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to diss Fixie guys. You know, they all tried it. People try, you know, whatever. It's a different style. But I kind of think maybe, you know, and I'm not connected with these things at all right now. I'm not, you know, but it seems to me like things went, you know, like those things are connected. Like maybe people went through that and kind of went, yeah, I still like coasting, you know. Coasting's a great thing, you know.
yeah, I think you're right, man. I think it probably, like, the people that really appreciate the challenge, you know what I mean? Um, like a Rodney Mullen type personality. I could see being like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. I could see that type thing, you know, but the rest of us are like, I want to do that, only easier. Like, is there a way I can do that repetitively without injury?
Yeah,
That's the way
yeah.
I want to do it. You know? Yeah.
I-
I
Big bike
respect
thing.
it.
I bought my night bike like that you got back there. I bought my first 24. I don't know. It could have been 10 years now. But I remember first riding that bike. I was stoked to put it together and everything. And, you know, 24 for me was a big wheel. And my first freewheel bike, to be honest, you know, I was riding coaster brakes my whole life. And I remember just taking it to these pretty mellow little jumps. I don't do anything big, you know, but it cleaned up my riding so quick. Like the difference between hitting this little mini tabletopper jump, you know, between my 20 coaster brake 20 and my freewheel 24, I was just like, oh my God, I can just pedal faster and just follow the bike. It's not
Yeah.
gonna overshoot an endo or land with a foot on a coaster brake and have to do that rodeo hop to get back on, you know. Like, so I get it. Like, it smoothens you out. I rode a 29er once just to roll around. I was like, all right, that's a little big for me, but I could see how you can wheelie.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're absolutely fun. Like a 27.5 is what I ride. I think it's I think personally that's a perfect size. And I'm right at like 5'11". And so I think to me that's just a perfect size and super comfortable to ride around and do stuff in. But dude, I love hearing you I love hearing you talk about jumping. Like, I think this is probably the third or fourth time just now that you brought up like jumping. Was jumping probably, would you say that's something that you really liked? Was it your favorite? What was your just favorite thing to do on a bike? Because as soon as you said, like, there's certain things that just probably feel good on a bike and these kids are going to find it, you know, what was it that just kind of felt dope to you?
Well, jumping's got to be the, I mean, other than just riding, I mean, I can think back to when that wasn't a given that you could actually ride a bike, you know? I mean, to me, the first biggest thing was like, oh my God, I can leave this neighborhood and not without having to get on a city bus, you know? I mean, for me personally, my parents didn't drive. So it was like, get on the bus or walk, you know, those were the options, right? Occasionally we got to ride with somebody, but so just getting on a bike and being able to pedal somewhere opened up my world, you know, like I was riding around downtown San Francisco as a little 8-year-old kid and, you know, knowing where you got to go and where you know, don't turn left because that's called the dog patch and you get jacked there when you're 8, you know, so we'll take your bike, you know. So just like getting out there and, you know, experiencing more things, just pedaling, like to me, and that, you know, it's maybe so obvious that it's taken for granted, but you know, mobility. That's kind of why I think I gravitated back to bikes rather than skateboards, because I like that, being able to pedal everywhere and get across town if I needed to, you know, wanted to.
Yeah.
But jumping follows right after that. I think that's just such a key thing, you know, right in there with doing a wheelie. I mean, doing a wheelie is a basic, fundamental, feel good thing. I still try to do wheelies on my 20. You know, I used to love doing tricked out wheelies. You know, I could do no-footed can coaster wheelies down the street, you know, and stuff like that. So I get it. I get the big bike draw. I met that guy. I went out to the Florida spring fling a couple times, and I met D-Blocks and his homies. You know, and those dudes are hella cool. You know, I could totally see like they had a different thing going, but they were jazzed for the same reasons.
Yeah, dude. I mean, fun is fun, dude. I mean, it's really kind of what it boils down to, I think, you know, and you know, just being free and just having fun and just going for it. Like, I remember, did you enjoy bunny hopping? Did you ever, like, was that something that you were really proud of? I remember you jumped, like, Craig, I saw this man bunny hop over like what was it, the A-frame? What do you call it? The A-frame things with the little blinking sign.
Yeah.
Like we were leaving the barricade. Yeah, you guys. I just got my second COVID shot like 3 days ago, so I still have like this stupid foggy brain. So I apologize, but I couldn't remember the word barricade. But we were leaving the park, and it was like we were going to McDonald's or something. That was just a super close McDonald's. And you like literally just were riding off and just like, boom, you know, bunny hopped a barricade. And I'd never seen anybody do anything like that before. Just because you were like talking to somebody and then just like, bloop, like, no, like, hey, check this out, or any kind of like, by the way, I'm about to do this. It was just like, yeah, man, I think I'm going to get a Big Mac. And maybe, I don't know if I'm going to get fries. You can have a French fry or something. It was just so casual. Like, was that natural for you? Did you just bunny hop everything?
I love bunny hopping. Yeah, for sure. I mean, bunny hopping is a fundamental. It's funny because my kid just hit me up to go ride to the beach, and we just fixed his flat this morning. Like I've been teaching him. I say, well, whenever your bike breaks down, we got to work on it together, and you got to learn how to fix it. And so he's flatted a couple times hitting curbs. You know?
That is rad. That is rad.
You know, like he's at that stage where, yeah, you got to get around the city, you got a bunny hop. Like,
yeah.
So I'm teaching him to, you know, bunny hop is 2 wheels together. Bronco is front back, right? And so like right now I'm just showing him like, look, watch front back. It makes it way better. Just roll up and then pop it, you know?
Yeah.
And that way your back wheel, you don't do this 2-wheel jump and hit your back wheel, you know,
yeah.
Out. You know, we did that yesterday at the beach. We flatted out.
Oh.
But like the thing is hitting the curbs. Like it's rad because we're doing the same thing that I always got jazzed on because I didn't have skate parks. I didn't have, you know, I had Golden Gate Park scene, which was epic. So I'm not complaining. But I didn't have big bank to walls in the city. We had some little things here and there to hit. But you know, the mainstay for me was always bunny hopping curbs, curb to curb, flatty off the curb, try to pitch over the fire hydrant, you know, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of it, sometimes it was just to get high, sometimes like just sillying it, you know, just like, okay, hit both wheels right off the top, land both wheels right in the next driveway, you know,
yeah.
Accuracy. even just what you have to mess with, you know. And but I knew the curbs. I had runs here, and I absolutely knew every inch of certain curbs. Okay, coming up to this street, there's going to be a lefty off the side here. If there's no car parked there, this is the golden one, you know, like.
There's no car, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, Drob,
when you BMX guys see things, we see the world differently, right? Everything's a rideable opportunity.
Totally. I mean, Isaac even gives me a little bit of crap about it. He's like, bro, because like I ride around my neighborhood and around town a lot, and I always did as a kid. Where I grew up, there really wasn't a skate park, but there were like big drainage ditches. It was the back of Safeway off the loading ramp. You know, all those things. So you even when you drive, like when I drive now, dude, like my eyes are like not looking too far past like, whoa, what can I do there? What can I do here? You know, it's so
Yeah.
I totally get that. Drob, when we look at today, right? Like it's been a crazy year in the last year or so. We're looking at COVID, a lot of people staying home. But another thing that's happening during these times, and you know, I know you're on Facebook and stuff like that, but you know, the resurgence of people getting not back into BMX, but a lot of guys who were like teenagers, like Isaac and I were back in the 80s, and both of us, you know, really wanting those Haros or those Skyways or whatever bikes that our parents couldn't afford, and neither could we. Now they're getting to a point where it's like, hey, I've got disposable income. I can go out and find that bike if I'm still into bikes, you know, that I couldn't have as a kid. And it's gone nuts. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, you can't find, or, you know, it's hard to find vintage bikes, classic 80s freestyle bikes, parts that go with it. And I mean, when you look at that, like, have you been a part of that scene, or have you kept a finger on the pulse of like BMX museum type guys, collectors, riders? And what do you think about this like sudden resurgence over the last couple of years for collector bikes and guys who are fixing those bikes up and getting them to like show condition?
It's so yeah, so I went through a little period of that when let's see, when was that? That was early 2000s or so, 2005-ish or something. And there was a lot going on. BMX, vintage BMX was a thing. And I think I had made the Curb Dogs page out in like kind of out on my own. And that's when I started looking into this stuff, you know, what was going on online with BMX, and ran into a lot of that pretty quickly. And I got stoked because I had this, I didn't collect anything. I was always giving away parts and selling stuff, whatever, you know, just shuffling it out because parts were just for riding, and most of them got broken or whatever, you know. They were consumables to me back in the day, right? Yeah. And so, but then when I started seeing what these guys were doing, I was like, wait, what do you mean? Someone's got a red line square back? How did that survive? Like, are you kidding me? Anything from the 70s is still alive? Like, my first impressions were like, what? And then somewhere in there, I was like, okay, well, go dig in the shed. Let's go back to Mom's house and see what's in the shed. I pulled out this TA that was my first bike from Skyway. Happened to be a unique bike because it had straight rake forks they made for us. They made Peterson a pair and me a pair for the 85 tour. So it was like, you know, rare in terms of what parts are on there. It's ridden. I rode in my first contest, first tour, like, but the thing was rusted out. Like, it was laying on the shed floor, totally rusty. And I brought it back, I put it online. I said, hey, you guys, I want to put this together. You know, I'm cool with rough parts, whatever. I just want to get this back to look like it was when I had it. I just kind of want a memento, you know, not thinking money or it's not going to be worth anything. It's rusty. It was totally rusted out. And then people started hooking me up with parts, and I got deals. And, you know, like, I was like, holy crap, are you kidding me? You got brand new tires for this? The exact tires I rode, like M tires from,
yeah, like new old school tires, right? Like, these are not repops. They're pretty much new old stock.
They got the little fur on them, the little, you know,
the hairs.
I'm wigging out. I'm going, oh shit. And then I start seeing more and more of what these guys are doing. I'm like, oh my God, you mean, so I guess I got to go get this thing repaired and re-chromed then, because this, like, my janky rust bucket with brand new parts is going to look stupid, you know, like. and these guys are hooking me up. Like I could afford to peel off some hundreds and, you know, get some real. So I got the frame done, and then it turned into this whole trip out of like, okay, where were all the stickers? Because you like for me, I wanted it to be my bike, so I wanted all the details. I had my flat cranks. Back then we would always take out the Allen bolts because they strip, and we'd put regular machine bolts, number grade 3 or whatever it was, the 3 lines on them, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And so I changed parts. Like, no, I don't want it to look like it's sitting on the showroom floor. I want it to look like it's sitting in my garage, ready to be taken out and riding, you know, and take the adjusters off the brakes. Like there were all these little tweaks. We put a nut on instead of the little aluminum nuts on the front of the brakes, we put a lock nut on there, you know. So it was all about that. Like, let's make this thing rideable, you know, flip the brake. And man, then I went through this trip of putting all the number plate together, and it turned into a real flashback. And like, so for me, like doing it, for me, it was about personal bikes. I did another one, an Orange Street Beat, with help from the guy, Todd Costantino, who actually made it and gave it to me. Like, that was amazing too. But for me, it was personal bikes, and I don't have a lot of room for bikes. So it never turned into like a opportunity to make money, or like, you know, luckily I got what I needed to get myself satisfied with those, you know. Like,
well,
there's
that's
a couple
funny thing is, because like Isaac, I mean, when Drob just mentioned, it wasn't a thing to make money. It was you know, I want this bike to ride. I want to put it in my garage. And then when I want to take it out, I want to take it out. And like Isaac and I and I'm sure a lot of people have too. And it's just part of the supply and demand of the market. It's like, these bikes could cost you about what it would cost for a down payment on a car, or more, you know, depending on how rare the bike is, how many they made, you know, the condition, all these factors, right? And it's like, I think we were looking at a bike that was like RL's first bike. It was in rad, you know, and it hit the market some years ago around $10,000 or somewhere around that neighborhood. And you're like, man, this can be a serious thing, you know, financially. This is more than, yeah, you know, there's guys who ride it and want to collect it, but there's also guys who really want to collect certain bikes, and top dollars out there. So we've just noticed that trend of like, dude, guys are shelling out hard cash.
Bro, yeah. I mean, Drob, think about this. Like the last freestyle bike that I ever owned, because I was doing the same thing, man. I was like, I'm in a place where I could buy a bike, and I'm like, you know, it'd be cool if I just buy the last flatland bike that I had. And then, being a NorCal kid, we all had Ozone. Ozone was the last bike that I bought.
hard bike.
I bought it, dude, right? I bought it out of the warehouse. Dude, I got my license, my 16th birthday. I was like, Mom, can I borrow the car? And she's like, yeah. I didn't tell her I was driving to San Jose. So I like hopped on the freeway from Lodi, no Google map. I stopped at the gas station and bought like a map, drove to the warehouse. Some dude that worked there was like, yeah, man, $100. And I'll give you a bike out of the warehouse. He's all, what color, black or white? And I was like, black, you know, and he's like, okay. You know, he's like, wheels it out. And then he's like, do you want to meet Nick Phillips? He's upstairs. I was like, no, no way. And yeah, Anarchic Adjustment, like his little office was like in the warehouse next to it was on the first layer of all the bikes in the warehouse. He just had like a desk up there. It was nuts. Yeah. It was out in Campbell or something like that.
I have some Anarchic Adjustment stuff still from Nick.
Do you really? What do you have, dude? What were you able to keep, like, from back in the day? What do you have?
I kept stickers. I got a mad sticker collection, I guess, which is cool because some of them, like, I look at them, I go, I got those from Fiola at the 84 contest because he had GT sticker Mocock. And those might even be from the same pack. Like, there's some memories in there for me personally. Like, if I see a sticker and it's a Brian Blather sticker, I know I got it from Brian Blather because I didn't buy them or seek them out. You know, they came at you because of where you were, you know, that stuff, you know. So those are pretty good. I got a little bit of some patches, BMX patches, but I kept all my magazines and I got all my jerseys. I somehow lost my number plates though, and that's super tragic. That's like, because that's a total personal thing, making your number plate and being And I don't know why those got lost, because I certainly wouldn't have sold them or thrown them out. No way. So something happened. Somehow those got missing. But I got all my magazines. I got all the freestylings, and I think I collected up the goes I needed. Maybe I have a gap or two, but and then I got all my jerseys and shirts. Like when I worked at Skyway, I designed some shirts and stuff, and I got those in the package. You know, the ones I made, I kept one of each. Some banners. I got some good banners.
Did you have a favorite jersey? Like a jersey style?
The favorite jersey? Well, I think I like the original red, white, and blue ones from Skyway, or the ones I designed by, you know, just
Of course, right?
you know, those 88s are pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, right.
Whenever I see like a picture online, you know, like somebody like Kevin Jones doing a trick, well, that's a pretty cool jersey.
Yeah. The dude that designed that's hella rad, just saying.
As one of them, like one of the early ones, I think I sent this like scrappy picture to Ken or something, and I swear to God, they took it right away, no color test or anything, just made a jersey out of it. I think like our 86 jerseys or something. It was like, whoa, we could have worked on the design a little bit. Like,
yeah, that's a napkin, bro.
Yeah, it came with like, it ended up with a really dark gray and dark blue, and you're like when you look at it, you just, my first reaction is like, oh yeah, those colors are dark, especially for the 80s. You can't put dark blue and dark gray, like, you know, there's no contrast go. And
Right.
I'm not like a bottom level designer, but you know, so it's pretty funny. Like yeah,
That's the most 80s thing I've heard, dude. Like your writer designed your jerseys. Like, of course you did, but of course you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I
Well, it was
love
funny,
that, dude.
87, you know, so I was up at Skyway in 87, and I was really trying to push the street thing. I was like, because I knew I had done my last contest. I knew it. I was like, Kevin Jones and these guys are coming up to pro, and I'm just not into it. Dennis McCoy is taken off and ran away from all of us, you know, and so, you know, I was working at Skyway, gave me the chance to work there, right? They said, hey, you want to work, which was really awesome, because I know Wilkerson didn't get treated that well, even from Haro being the, you know, the higher level rider he was, you know. Haro didn't treat him very well. Skyway was really cool in terms of family-oriented company. That's why they got Matt, in my opinion. The people at Skyway is the reason Matt chose them. Matt's parents chose them first. So I came up there and worked. It was all in good faith. I was trying to sell mountain bikes, and then it turned into, you know, design the jerseys. And I was telling him, I said, look, you got the street beat, you got Eddie Roman out there doing street. I said, you guys got to push this street thing. I said, we're done with the race look. I said, you guys got to accept that. We got to move in this direction. And it started to stick, but then the money just dropped out. I think they were going to make the transition. You know, we did this line of clothes. I did like this, you know, there's like active wear, sort of like Motives was for Haro, but like the Skyway version. I'm not the designer that Bob was at all. You know, Bob Haro was a great designer, graphic designer. So, but you know, they were trying to go that way, but I think the bottom just fell out on BMX marketing. You know, and I think Skyway was built on amazing engineering and building and making and quality and all that good stuff, old-fashioned American manufacturing value stuff. And I don't think it just wasn't in their DNA to be a reseller of Taiwanese made stuff, you know,
Right.
Honestly.
Right. I could see
That's
that,
what
dude.
Works now. You know, these guys, John Busens and Todd Lyons, you know, they're experts at making that system move, because that's a system you got to work with today. There's, you know, if you're going to do all American made, you're in a whole different world than those guys are. But, you know, it takes a talent and skill like those guys are doing to anticipate the market and get those bikes coming and watch the quality and, you know, do that whole thing. And I just don't think Skyway was ready to do that. But although they, you know, kept their company going and only sold a little while ago. You know,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway,
let me how much, when it came to like the street beat, was Skyway like talking about their engineering? Did they listen to your feedback? Did they listen to like you and Scott and Hugo? And because you all, I'm assuming you all had very different needs for your bikes. You know, how I was always, because I was always under the impression like, man, I bet they just get like their own custom geometry. And something about like Bob Osborne made me a geometry snob when I was a kid. I didn't know shit about geometry, but I knew I wanted like a steep head tube. I had to have that, you know, and like, oh, it's the top tube length needs to be short. And I didn't know anything about physics or geometry, but I just knew I know we needed that. And like, you looked at like, I rode for MCS and the head tube angle, I think the steer tube was like 71.5, you know, so it was like a chopper. And that was brutal. So I was like, I bet you Drob's rolling around right now on a custom, like perfectly fitted frame to him. Is that true?
Yeah, it wasn't that funky, to be honest. In the beginning, when we got on Skyway, it was more like, hey, ride these parts. You know, I mean, literally, those freestyle cars, I don't know if anybody who rode freestyle had any input. The first generation ones that are just like it's like a bow and arrow. You know, the two bars come and get big at the middle.
Oh, I know.
You said,
Yeah.
He's on those, right? So it started out more like, here, ride these parts. And they were working with Vander on the street beat, though. They did give him a prototype and hear him on angles and stuff. So that was the start of it. But they had that freestyle platform thing. I think that was just totally an engineering idea, and they rolled with it, which they probably sold a fair amount of those.
Do they have one in my bike shop?
Yeah, did they? Yeah.
Yeah, they had that in this. Remember the Spin Master too?
The Spin Master, yep. Those sold. But like I think they heard us in like a you know, conglomerate of everybody's. They didn't just say, hey, Drob, we're going to do this bike. You know, tell me what to do with it. They knew how to handle bikes, and they saw what the GT rode like. They knew. I mean, you know, Ryan, who designed the Skyway TA, knew engineering, like nobody else. So he knew the angles better than any of us did, for sure.
Sure.
But they heard 88 Street Beats got a little longer. You know, I always, like, at the time, the 88 Street Beat felt perfect to me. I was ready for a little bit longer bike, even though I always liked having a bike that could be flat and, you know, kind of an all-arounder bike.
Yeah.
And you know, these heavy bike, the 90s heavy bikes, when I came back into riding more, that didn't work at all, man. I had a Hoffman Condor, one of the early ones that I got. That was Chad Kage's bike through Matt Marisich, I think, to me that way. And man, that thing was a tank. I couldn't do a ground tail whip on it because it was like I was throwing a battleship around, you know.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so I went to Solid and asked for I was like, hey man, I really want a platform again. Can you make me like a street beat, but a little longer, and with a platform, but like done up? And he didn't want to do like all, like, he was busy, you know, Aaron busy. And but he got me the bike, the Solid bike I got from him. I love it. It's funny because John Buelgen's offered me a Haro one time because he saw my ratty looking bike. I was like, no, that's cool, thanks, dude, that's rad. But I was like, I love my bike. What do you mean?
Yeah.
This bike,
dude,
great.
We love our bikes, man. You know it. You know, it's one of those things. It's like your friend. You know the way it rides. You know what it does. You know what it doesn't do. And it's just peaceful. It's like a friend. Drob, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, man. I kept you way over like what I told you I would chat with you. I'm going to ask you one last question, and I'm also going to share my most embarrassing story. I've shared this a couple times on this podcast, on the audio version of this. But I'm gonna ask, and I'm asking this question, but in case I forget at the end of the story, I want to know if there's anything like, man, what would you do differently if looking back on your career? Would you do anything differently? But before you answer that, I need you to tell you the story, because your answer might be, I would do that differently. Meaning give me your phone number. So you guys, at the beginning of the podcast, I told you about how I went to the Lodi Grape Festival, and boom, there's Drob. And so here I am in heaven because a famous pro flatland / kick ramp / bunny hop god that I was always too scared to talk to at Gold Gate Park was in my town at my local festival. So I hang out for both shows. It was a 2-show special. Congrats, Drob. You got paid twice on that one. Way to go. Well played. So I go to both shows and I talked to Drob, 14-year-old me. Drob, I think you maybe were, I don't know, man. You were barely older than me. You were still definitely like a kid driving a ramp around, which was awesome. And you gave me your phone number, and because I told you, like, man, I go to the park, I'm just scared to talk to you. And you're like, dude, you're an idiot. You ride just like I do. Basically it was like a scolding, like, bro, I'm not anything special. I do tricks, you do tricks, we both ride bikes. Come say hi next time you're there. And I was like, all right. So I took my folded up piece of paper with Drob's number. I kept it in my wallet, you guys, forever. And one day, the true story, and this is the part you may start to regret. I asked my mom, can I have some gas money so I can go to San Francisco? And she's like, yeah, that's a big no for me, dog. Ain't gonna happen. Single mom, right? She was not trying to give me $5 or $20. It was $20. She settled for $5. She's like, you can have $5. I was like, okay. And then, like, I just got this inkling. I'm going to call Drob and offer him $5 gas money to come drive to Lodi, California from San Francisco to Flatland Freestyle with me in the parking lot. And I called you guys. I swear to God, I called Drob on a Saturday right after cartoons. And I was like, is Drob there? I swear to God. I was like, is Drob there? And they're like, hold on. I don't know. I don't remember who answered. It wasn't you. You came, you're like, hello. I'm like, I said, hey, Drob, it's Isaac from Lodi. This is the most embarrassing thing to tell you, dude. Little 14-year-old me was like, hey, man, it's Isaac from Lodi. My mom gave me $5. Do you want to drive over in Flatland in my house? Dude, I think you were like, yeah, man, I can't today, dude. I'm super busy. And I was like, all right, Drob, I'll see you later. I never called again, dude. But oh my God, I tell that story and I cringe. And it's even, you guys, my hands are shaking because it's the most embarrassing story I have in freestyle. And it involves Drob, and I just told him. So
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. You were just like, and now I think back about it, because my memory of it is 14-year-old me, but now as an adult, when you relive it, you're like, and I relive your response, I'm like, what a cool dude, man. He was just like, yeah, because I would not respond that cool. If someone's like, hey, dude, I'll give you $5 to come to Maryland, I'll be like, yeah, bro, I'm busy. I can't today. I just take a line from Drob. Can't today. I'm busy. I'm riding. I got plans.
It's like,
so anyway,
back to like being in mom's house in the hood back then, because what was this, 86, 87 or something?
Dude, yeah, I was 14. So I mean, yeah, dude, at 14 for me was 86, 87. Yeah.
So 86, 87, like, I'll tell you what my world was right then. I was driving like a hand-me-down car from my parents. I think by then, I had my first car, hand-me-down 71 Dart Swinger, right? With
yeah, boy.
Top, like crazy and peeling top, vinyl top all peeling off. And that car, like my world, the idea of driving the Lodi, like Vander, like, so don't feel bad, because Vander used to call me, he'd be all, dude, I got some spots in San Leandro, man, let's come session, this and that. And what was going through my head was like, dude, I got this, my car can't drive 15 miles. Like, I mean, I literally, or I don't know what exactly, but in that time period,
yeah,
I bought the first set of tires for my car. And I was, like you said, had no money having kid, right? So I went and bought retread. And like, I blew out all 4 retreads at different times. Like I had blowouts time on my car, like all the time. Got to replacing those blowouts. I had 6 blowouts within a year. So to me, driving like over the bridge, I ain't getting a blowout to come to your house. That's like, dude.
I was just gonna say, like, if it involves going over a bridge, forget it. It's like, that's the cutoff, right?
Dude, right? Yeah.
Getting out of
the city,
you might have a blowout and be stuck on the side of the road with no cell phone or anything, like it was, so that's like how my deal was back then. And one of those blowouts actually led to a friend of mine getting busted for trying to steal us a tire, and like went to court for all that. It's just like, this is what was behind my like Saturday of like not being able to drive to Lodi. Dude, driving to Lodi to me would have come to me as, let's drive to Oregon right now.
Right. Yeah. Let's go to Maryland.
It felt that far because my car was so janky, So.
Dude, oh my God. It was amazing. That was just like such a funny story, dude. I'm so glad I got to share that with you. So besides not giving me your phone number being your biggest thing you would change, is there anything, dude, like, is there anything you do differently? Is there anything, man, I wish I would have, or is there like, man, I wish, and to give you an example, I would pay talking about like spots, dude, I would give $500 to have 1 hour with like Craig, my best friend, at the route. Like there was a route that was pushing a curb up outside of my best friend's house when we were 11. And I would give $500 to have 1 hour with that curb with my best friend now as an adult, just to have like, I always think about like, what would I pay money for to relive an experience, and what would I do differently then? What would you do?
Ooh, that's a tough one, man. Like, I don't know. Talking about cars right there, I've thought to myself in different times, I wish I had bought myself a pickup so I could have stolen wood and built a ramp. That would have been a wise. Okay, to just have a pickup, that would have been pretty key. Because I know Mike Golden had a pickup, and we did some wood runs.
Mike Golden, dude, yeah.
So a better vehicle would have helped. That's all. It's super practical. But I don't know. There's times I thought I should have looked at the camera more. And it's funny because like Joe Sickman is talking about what was it called? Something about RL, giving RL a hard time for doing his face shots, in the magazine shots, and
right.
Everybody called it face poses or something,
Face posing, sure.
Should have face posed more, because I know there's a story, I think Steve Emig tells that he was there with them picking the next cover of the magazine, and I lost my shot at the freestyling cover because I just didn't pay attention to the camera that way. I wasn't like, doing all that, like, look at Wilkerson on the cover of Freestyle, and it's a total face pose, but it makes the picture, it makes the cover. So I probably should have tried to pay attention to the camera more and think about the overall shot. I don't know, but
yeah,
my time it wasn't. I don't regret it, but I would have liked to have a freestyling cover. That would have been better. I'm not gonna lie.
dude,
I don't feel like I deserve to be with everything I got in freestyle. You know what I mean? I don't feel cheated in any way. You'll never hear me bitch about what I should have got in a contest or something. I screwed up my own contest. So. I don't have any, I got done well, is the way I look at it.
I like that, man. I like how you said that, because, you look back and it to participate in it on the level that you did and be a part of this, one of the biggest scenes in Northern California. And then in general, in freestyle BMX and trick riding, and that to be a part of that at a pro level, like you were, a sponsored rider, with the connections you had, the experiences, the stories you're able to tell. I saw you the other day, excuse me, I believe on Facebook or something, where you were doing like a Zoom meeting with Matt Hoffman, with Scott Freeman, with these teammates that you had. Like, you guys are still connecting. You guys are, even if it's over Zoom, even, if geographically you're not in the same room, you guys are all still talking, still buddying around. To me, that's really super cool, Drob, man. And I got to tell you this, if you guys don't know this, a couple of weeks ago or last month, whatever it was, I ran into Drob at a BMX and Brews event, old school BMX bike hangout, put on by the owner of KnightBikeCompany, George. And I just walked up to Drob. Drob is, obviously you guys can tell, real personable guy who has no problem saying hi and what's up. I mean, he won't give Isaac a ride from Lodi or anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of guy that'll give you his phone number.
Right. Call me anytime you need something. But I get it. It was Isaac, and he had his head ran over. I don't blame you, Drob. But anyways,
I don't either.
Right. So, man, like I said, I was getting back to we saw at the BMX and Brews, dude, and then next thing you know, we're talking about doing the show, and here we are. So I want to say thank you, man. Bro, appreciate, being a Bay Area dude, being a representative of Northern California, San Francisco, the whole scene up here, and making it happen for us Bay Area guys was a big deal as a kid. And now just to talk to you, man, it's pretty fun. I'm having a good time. And I know Isaac is too. And I know everybody listening is probably, having just as good a time hearing old stories, what's been going on with you. And, I really look forward to seeing you out on the next BMX and Brews, dude, and keep hanging out. Man.
Yeah, I love our scene, man. I think BMX scene is going strong. I appreciate what you guys do. Promoting it and keep tying them together like this with the big bikes to the old school BMX and everything. One of the things I was amazed at when I resurfaced was the guys at the Ramp Club, treating me as an old funky dude on an 80s street beat showing up. They were all super cool, those dudes. It always amazes me how it went from feeling like you're kicked out of the sport at the end of it. I was like, oh, you're washed up, dude. Like, these kids are blowing your doors off and you're not relevant anymore and you better get on. But I feel like now it's like everything's connected, and as people come out, everybody's kind of welcomed, and it all, it's all kind of related. It's all about the bikes,
It really is, dude. And I want to take you on a ride out one of these days, dude, just so you can see what it's like, man. Cause I felt the same way, dude. I was like, I remember the first time I went to hang out with anybody after I got my new, my big ripper, my 29, and I saw a flyer and I was just like, man, I'm going to go. And I remember telling my wife, dude, man, I'm going to show up, dude. And everyone's going to look at me like, who's the narc? You know what I mean? I'm like, it's going to be all these young kids, you know what I mean? And like, what up, 21 Jump Street? You know what I mean? I'm like, she's like, well, just don't ride up and be like, where's the lewds? And she'll be like, she'll be all right. She's trolling me. But, it was great, dude. People were super dope. And it's the family that you loved in the 80s is still here. The faces are different. The ghosts are there enough to remind you of what we did. I shouldn't even say what you did. I was just a little kid that was there, man. But
it's definitely a we, and it would have been nothing without. I mean, can you imagine if just a bunch of guys in leather were jumping around on their bikes and no one gave them?
Where's the parade?
Connected, right? That'd be a little freaky, right? Like,
right,
weirdo.
Right. Yeah. What's up, Crew Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, dude. Okay.
Yeah. The whole scene, the entire scene is being a kid who freestyle magazine, you're stoked. You're connected in, even just to that degree that you went to school and had something other than Boys Life and whatever else, those kid magazines.
Yeah, right. Highlights.
Thing.
Yeah.
Highlights.
Yeah. Like that much individualism was in your deal back then. That was something, other than regular. So I think everybody should be stoked on connected,
Yeah. Well, Drob, man, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you showing up to this. I appreciate everything that you've done, for BMX. I gotta tell you, man, while Craig was talking, it dawned on me, like, you're the only pro when you talk about like contests and stuff like that. I don't remember contests. Everything I remember about Drob was actually like riding outside of contests. And to me, I think that is so rad. I love that because all my memories are pure. You know what I mean? It's like, it's as pure as that fucking bunny hop, dude. That's every memory I have of you riding is as pure as that bunny hop over a barrier, dude. And I appreciate that. So thank you for your contribution to flatland, to freestyle, to BMX, to bunny hopping, to everything that I enjoy today, dude. It wouldn't have happened without you being who you are, your brother inspiring you and pushing all of us. Like, dude, that family that I remember being a fringe member of, just seeing like Tommy go out there and just launch that ramp, dude. I remember riding up, dude. And I remember like a group of skaters, like 4 people, like pushing that thing up the hill by the botanicals, pushing a launch ramp through the park, dude. It just, and everybody sessioned that launch ramp that day. And so just on behalf of everybody, dude, thank you for what you did for us as riders in NorCal. And I want to give a shout out, just if any of the old riders that I remember riding with, Eric Emerson, Aaron Dole, McKee, Carl and Chris. I'm sorry I didn't get to ask that. I wanted to ask, like, did you still stay in touch with any of those guys?
Definitely, yeah. I talk to Chris all the time. I talk to Carl regularly. Mark, I saw Mark recently. Eric, I haven't talked to in a bit, but I look him up here and there. And Norman Chuck's going to come out to another.
Norman Chuck, dude, yeah.
Curb Dog, just so you know, yeah. And Norman,
I forgot about Norman, dude. Yeah.
Norman's a killer graffiti artist, dude, world known.
Yeah.
Isaac, we got to get you out to a Bay Area get together, man. One of these BMX and brews and stuff. Like, Drob, I don't know if you know this, Isaac lives out in Phoenix and migrated out there, but we're getting to the point where we're both vaccinated. Isaac, man, we got to set up some travel dates.
Dude, I gotta come out. I would just flip out. Just like, I forgot about Norman Chuck, dude. And and dude, thank you, because it's one of those things where, man, I used to sit in my room and just think about, like, I would just replay the day and like who did what trick and how smooth it was and how bad I wanted to be that smooth, and like so-and-so's funky chicken and Rob Peterson's like Yo Toyota. He had like a Toyota and he just got sponsored by Schwinn, and he took all the stickers off. So it said Yo, and he thought it was so clever. And I was just like, yeah, dude, that's rad. You know what I mean? I didn't get it. Right. I'm like, that's cool, man. But he's just giving me like dad jokes, and I'm like 14, you know what I mean? I'm just like, you're Robert Peterson and you have a Yo car. And he's just like, I do, check it out. And I'm just like, I don't know anything about cars, bro. I'm 14. Yeah. I know $5. I know $5 drives to Maryland in gas. So anyway, you guys, Drob, thank you so much. Thank you everybody that ever rode in Golden Gate Park. I love you all. Craig, why don't you send us out, buddy?
You got it, man. Special shout out to Maurice Meyer, our special guest tonight, the Bay Area legend, the Bay Area freestyle BMX legend, and all that, man. We're so stoked that you came out tonight. Everybody who's hanging out here in the live chat, hope you had a good time, man. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us again. Can't say thank you enough for all those folks who show up and support the show. And speaking of supporting the show, I want to tell you guys a little bit about our show sponsors. We've got KnightBikeCo, PhoenixBikeCompany, Etnies Shoes. We've got OldBones Therapy. We've got CrushedMX, Schmuck'd Beard Products, JTUSA, and last but not least, we've got Broke Boys BMX. And again, thanks everyone for showing up. If you want to catch us here on YouTube, go ahead and hit that reminder button, hit that bell, whatever you got to do to make sure you're not missing a single episode of Big Bike BMX. Also streaming live on your favorite streaming podcasts and platforms. Don't miss us there, because you're going to get more content than you see on YouTube. Isaac and I bringing up all kinds of topics where, if you like hearing us chat and talk about things BMX and pretty much anything in life, you can catch us there. Again, Drob, thanks for showing up, man. Stoked that you were here, bro. Had a great time. Isaac, thank you as well. We'll see you guys all real soon.
Yeah, Drob, thank you again. Yeah, Drob, thanks again, brother. We appreciate you. Man. We appreciate you and love you, brother. Craig, I just got to tell you, dude, you look great, bro. How much weight have you lost?
Well, dude, thanks for asking, man. I appreciate it.
You look amazing. I hate you right now.
Right on. 20 pounds, bro. 20
Good
pounds.
for you. Good for you, kinda. Good for you, kinda.
Yeah. From you, man. I need some of those diet tips. Maybe stop drinking soda.
I'll hook you up with my diet secrets later, Drob.
All right, Craig, you ready? Ba, ba, da, ba.